Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Real Benchmark Podcast. This is Brother Wolf.
And this is YNB Collins.
And also today we are on season 3, More Explosions.
Okay. What? This is out of your paycheck, not mine, right?
Understood.
Okay.
As always with Benchmark, we are here in order to help you do better, use our critical thinking skills in order to get you to that point in life. Today we're going to talk about something that was very heavy nostalgia for us growing up, and I think it's something that we can bring back to that point, and we're going to talk different ways about it today in order to go ahead and achieve those goals. Because even though this Olympics is in Paris, France this year, 2024 Olympics, in 4 years, the Olympics will be back in the States, in Utah, Salt Lake City, Utah, which is a very interesting area in order to have it. But it makes sense for several reasons. One of the main reasons being that the Olympics have to be a safe area. And there you go.
Okay. I'm going to just move on.
So with that in mind, since the Olympics haven't been exactly as popular as they had been previously, me and my brother, we came up with different changes that could happen as far as the different sports of the Olympics. Different things that we believe may get them to a better point, may get them to a more popular attraction.
Can I rephrase for you?
Sure.
Dear Olympic Committee, no one's really watching because we don't care. So here's how we help you do better, and you put us on that Olympic Committee where we can make hundreds of thousands of dollars making easy decisions for you. Ding! Now you could add an explosion for that one, and I'd have been boom. But no, I mean, my brother brought up a really great point. It's like the Olympics are supposed to be a world-defining event. Everybody gets off their ass for a second and watches some of these great athletes.
And we forget about all the wars and all the tragedies and stuff that are going on in the world today.
Yeah, we just chill out and just enjoy some athletic events.
Right. Which
I did watch, and I just don't care anymore. And it made me think, I'm like, I don't give a shit about the Olympics anymore. Right. I couldn't tell you, maybe Bills, go ahead and remove all hope. But I'm hoping that with these ideas that my brother and I came up with, we can be a little bit more forward and yet true to the theme and the idea of the Olympics in the first place. That's fair?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we do know that there's all kind of processes that go into accepting new sports into the games and everything like that. That's why we're getting started with this 4 years early. We're giving y'all 4 years. Come on. Y'all could get together all kinds of Olympic committees and stuff like that in 4 years. Come on.
Well, I also don't know how much money they do or don't have, because one of the things that people forget is you have to be able to host a butt ton of people.
Right.
Coaches, equipment guys, AV guys, newscasters, all your Olympic committee, your refs, your judges, all these people have to be able to be lodged for, housed, fed, clothed, etc., and so forth. So that's a lot of people that have to be appropriately addressed.
Definitely.
So I'm going to go ahead and be realistic, unlike my brother, and say 12 years.
12 years.
Bureaucracy moves at the speed of what?
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm pretty sure.
So the way we did it, we tried to. So the first daunting task was, can you right now name all of the Summer Olympic activities? No, the fuck you cannot.
Do not lie to us and try to lie and say it.
Don't lie to me. Don't lie to yourself. We had to look it up, and the list goes as follows. You can go ahead and look it up on the Olympic website if you want, but that's where we went. I told my brother, don't you dare touch that Wikipedia. That's what
Even though the Wikipedia site is the main one that comes up, not the Olympic site. For some odd reason, the Olympipedia site is the one that comes up.
So I'm going to try and make this quick. Archery, artistic gymnastics, artistic swimming, athletics, badminton, basketball, 3x3 basketball, beach volleyball, boxing, breaking, BKA breakdancing, canoe slalom, canoe sprint, cycling BMX freestyle, cycling BMX racing, cycling mountain bike, cycling road, cycling track, diving, equestrian, fencing, world football, i.e. soccer, golf, handball, hockey, judo, marathon, swimming, modern pentathlon, modern decathlon, modern triathlon, rhythmic gymnastics, rowing, rugby sevens, sailing, and in shooting we have multiple categories, including gender, air rifle, trip, skeet, 10 meter, 50 meter, 25 meter in the position at which you shoot, skateboarding, sport climbing, surfing, swimming, table tennis, TKD, taekwondo, tennis, trampoline, volleyball, water polo, weightlifting, and wrestling. Did I miss anything, sir?
Nope, that was all of them.
So that's the entire list of what's going ahead and being. If I didn't say decathlon, that should have been in there.
Yeah, well, the decathlon, pentathlon, and triathlon are combinations of those sports. So,
Well, not quite, but yeah, close enough.
yeah.
So the point being is that some of these sports are just not what I want to watch. Like I never, if it's not for Tiger Woods, I don't watch golf.
Yeah.
I don't watch golf as
agreed. It's not. Its pacing is off for like an Olympic sport. Like I don't imagine the pacing of golf tends to be Olympic quality. You know.
I also don't believe. See, my concern is this. Even though the Olympics traditionally were designed to test an individual's mettle in the world they were in, so yes, you want to be fleet of foot, be strong of body, stout of mind, etc., and so forth. We're not doing that shit anymore. If you need to be able to run and shoot. That's basically it. If you can do that, you're good to go. That's the way I
get somewhere fast. Run, shoot, and get somewhere fast.
You're running to the vehicle that's going to get you fast.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is in my estimation. So there's some games that we're taking out, some games we're putting in, and we're revamping some games and making them new games or combined games. So you want to start off by what we're taking out, or what you're taking out? Because I'm taking out more than you.
Yeah, so some clear games that I'm taking out. Number one, surfing. Surfing to me has always seemed off as far as, you know, it being more artistic. A layman cannot tell you what defines a great surf from a bad surf. That is my issue with it.
Besides, not being on the board.
Yeah, besides not being on the board or just wiping out, then we know it's bad. But like if there's two people that are on their board and just kind of surfing, like it's just hard for a regular person to get into it and know, oh, that's why they're that high score or that high score.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Every time I think of surfing, I think of a little turtle dude.
Another thing, water polo. To me, water polo is one thing in which it doesn't feel modern. Like, I'll be honest with you, it doesn't feel as though it's something that is a game in which people think of in the modern era. I can imagine it during the 1800s, something like that. It was a popular thing then, but I don't see it as being something really great now.
Brother Wolf,
Yeah.
can you swim?
Moving on. Golf. We talked about golf's pacing already. It just doesn't feel an Olympic pace. It is.
You can't swim.
It is like chess or checkers. It's similar to that. Whereas it is a sport, but it just doesn't have the pacing of an Olympic sport.
So this is one where I always jumped in. To be a sport, one of the things you have to do is you have to play defense. I can't play defense when we're running. Otherwise it's called cheating. It's called tripping. You know what I mean? That's the problem I have.
We just finished watching that NES game. What was it?
Crashing the boys.
Yeah, Crashing the Boys. Yeah. Then you can play defense.
You play offense too. But no, it's one of the things I have a problem with some sports where you can't play defense. Like one of the sports that you're thinking about introducing, there's no defense in the sport, quote unquote. So sport is a very loose term, but go over what you're taking out, get it over with, and let's move on. So I'll get my turn.
Final thing, artistic swimming.
What about gymnastics?
I'm okay with artistic gymnastics. Recently, somebody went over to me the different things that if you watch enough artistic gymnastics, you do get to follow where the points differential comes between the top people and the bottom people. You do get to follow that. It doesn't qualify for your rule about being able to have a defense as far as the sport is concerned, but it does follow, whereas a regular person can pick up and follow it. I had a different answer for this before, whereas I would have allowed artistic gymnastics to be on the takeout rule, but recently my eyes have opened to certain things with dealing with artistic gymnastics that make me think that it can qualify for an Olympic sport based off of the fact that a regular person following it with the who has done any amount of knowledge on it begins to know.
So I guess the question I'm going to ask is, if we kept up with the theme of the Olympics, i.e. things that that need to be done by the most physically fit of the era, does dance count, i.e. is it diplomatic? Like, I wouldn't go around thinking there should be a Zumba Olympic event.
Right, I get it.
That's why I'm kind of like, this isn't useful to us. This is one of those science versus the arts questions in my mind. Does that make sense?
Based off of the fact that, and later on you mentioned this with parkour and stuff like that, I think that there is a real world application for artistic gymnastics, and there may not be a real world application for artistic swimming. And that's what I think it is for artistic gymnastics. You can think of the body movements would allow you to dodge certain things and would allow you to move into a certain situation that you wouldn't be able to move into before.
Now you're arguing the kata, and I was fine with karate being removed.
Right. I get why you were fine with that, and it's one of the reasons why I didn't put karate as being removed on there.
Well, karate is not on. It can't be removed.
Kata as being one of the reasons, one of the things that could be removed.
It is removed already. I don't understand what you're saying. It's not an Olympic sport.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why it's like I was saying, that's mine that should go out.
All right, so mine are a lot more definitive. Sailing, artistic and rhythmic gymnastics, and unfortunately breaking. I will watch breaking. I will watch the Jabberwockies because it is so point-based and subjective. I'm not a fan of it. I like to say that, did you cross this line before this guy? You won. You know what I mean? Did you body slam this guy on his head and he quit? You won. You know what I mean?
You didn't say about sailing. What's the reason why you went to?
It's because it's sailing. You're requiring the earth to do the work. What if there's no wind?
Yeah.
The reason why I can't do the water sports is that most of the time it's watching paint dry.
I get you.
So I'm getting rid of sailing, artistic and rhythmic gymnastics, breaking, both forms of volleyball and beach volleyball, canoe slalom, canoe sprint, rowing, diving, golf, weightlifting, surfing, water polo, and taekwondo. Weightlifting and taekwondo I'm tempted to keep in. One, because TKD is combat sports, and combat sports get a pass. Weightlifting, if you see somebody bend something with your bare hands and realize you're next on the menu, you kind of want to make sure you exit the restaurant, if that's a fair statement.
I mean, what did Mark Henry do when somebody asked for an autograph? Grab a rebar, bend it into a circular situation and hand it to him, and he'd say, "This is your autograph," and they accepted it.
I don't believe there's any other option, Your Honor. So I'm taking out more games because I don't believe there are. It's the equivalent of why the NFL is an offensive-minded game. It's better for selling tickets. So the question becomes, if you are the Olympic Committee, how true do you stay to the original gist of the Olympics versus butts in the seats?
Right. And I think you have to think of it as butts in the seats. Like, it's a business, you know? You have to get the money together in order to keep holding these Olympics every year. So
Agreed. So moving on, we got to go ahead and we have 4 categories, guys. So we had the games we're taking out. We have the revamp, which these are the games we're going to revamp and replace or go ahead and put something else in this place that's in the spirit of, but not the same thing, in games we're just putting in. Which one you want to do first? You want to do revamp? You want to do putting in?
putting in. We'll do.
All right. So notes. All right. So what are we putting in?
First, when I said esports, I think this would be huge. This would be the game changer for the Olympics if they were to include esports in the Olympics.
And I have to agree with you because as someone who's a gamer, as someone who knows Evil Moment 37, potentially watch Evil Moment 38, Hayo, you're the man. Gigas Breaker for the win. Everybody here on this earth probably knows Mario more than Jesus Christ.
Whoo!
I'm pretty sure more people know Pikachu than the last 4 officials that ran their government.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure you could go ahead and be like, if somebody went Pika Pika, you wouldn't know where that's from. But could you name the last 4 officials from not your government? Can you name the last 4 prime ministers?
Right.
Yeah. You know? So for esports, yeah. And because you got Korean players, Japanese players, US players, there's a few UK players like Valarax with Killer Instinct and Mena RD for the Dominican Republic for Street Fighter 6. And then here's the thing, too. When you realize how many games esports has, League of Legends. First off, Blizzard. just whatever Blizzard has.
Right.
Then you have your fighting, the FGC, the fighting game community.
Right.
And I mean, at this point, if you are over 40, if you are under 60 years old and over 35, you heard of Street Fighter.
Exactly.
You heard of Mortal Kombat. You know what I mean?
And one of the big key things they would say is, well, what games would they do it on? They have some games that have Marvel vs. Capcom 2 has been around for how many years, and it still has a thriving community of competitive gaming.
Yeah.
And so that's the whole thing is most of the main sticklers against this point were the longevity of the games, but
isn't that part of the fun too? Is that as the community changes, the Olympics have to keep up with it, so they have to figure out what games they're putting on the menu.
Yeah.
Because if think about it like this, if the Olympics are supposed to be the best of the best, even though Stonehammer is a viable weapon and I don't want to get hit by one, I'm still going to pick gun over Stonehammer. You know what I mean?
Makes sense.
So, yeah. So, moving on after esports.
World Tag Championships. I have recently, my brother opened my eyes to the World Tag Championships. And
I thought he knew.
And I have to say, seeing the excitement, seeing the competitive spirit, seeing the overall atmosphere of the sport, it feels very Olympic to me. The speed is very Olympic pace.
It's for a microwave culture.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, 20-second rounds, fantastic. The entire time, nothing but adrenaline and excitement. You know, so like I said, I can't see why something like that wouldn't be included in a modern Olympic Games.
Especially because you already have a world whatever for this event. That means you have infrastructure. That means you have facilities, teams, etc., and so forth.
Yeah, I think all of the sports that I'm about to mention actually have already a world championships committee area or expertise
Okay. So we went through esports. What's next, baby?
in World Tag.
In World Tag, excuse me.
Billiards pool. I think it is a big thing that billiards is something in which I'm surprised it hasn't already been admitted into the Olympic Committee.
And this is the one I brought up because as a bar guy, what do I see in a bar top more often? You know what I mean?
Pool.
I'll see shuffleboard. I see pool. I see video poker. I'll see that poker should be an Olympic sport.
Yeah, I
Because
mean, I could
it's
see it.
bluffing.
Right.
But back to the lecture at hand with billiards, you might not be good at pool, but you know the talent it takes to be a quality pool player. And then there's billiards, there's snooker, there's, you know what I mean? There's levels to the game, 8-ball, 9-ball. So depending on what you're doing, you could have a lot of stuff on just pool day. And I think that would be really cool to go ahead and see.
Yeah, and they could have They could either have 8-ball or they could have trick shots. You know, they could do both.
And I mean, if you've seen some of the trick shots, so
Yeah.
I mean, and I will say this: if you are a pool fan in any capacity, the first medal given out should be an honorary gold medal to Efren Reyes. I'm just putting that on the record. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. Efren is Efren. Last name Reyes, Reyes. Look it up. Filipino legend.
Finally, well, not finally, but darts is another one in which I was saying would be an easy one. It kind of would be. It's kind of like with the shooting stuff, so it almost would be shooting revamp. But I think that darts would be a good thing for it. The accuracy, the pacing, it's normally what three dart rounds, so that's not a very long thing.
Yeah,
and so
a leg is real quick. And I mean, the other thing is that if you wanted to up the excitement level, you could do knife throwing or hatchet throwing, because axe throwing is a thing now.
Yeah.
Never thought it would be, but imagine you do one of those as well in the same vein of.
Right.
And that's something that I believe that today's quote unquote modern warrior would do.
Absolutely. Another thing is slap rounds. If you have ever seen these competitions, these people are. It goes with what you were saying. Combative tournaments. This would be a good judge of physical acumen among the different participants. It is a high intensity kind of sport, and I just think it would be definitely a good fit in order to get the popularity of the Olympics up.
And can you imagine the memes every day? He turned around. He did the ring king. Like, you gonna slap the dog piss out some of these people. Like, I already watch as it is. So to imagine seeing a grown man get slapped so hard, he does the Harlem Shake. I'm watching. Oh no!
Oh my goodness! And in front of an Olympic world audience,
a global audience, you got the dog shit slapped out of you, and you dance to the beat. What are you, Zab Judah?
Another thing is Ninja Warrior. Why it is immediately fast paced. It would be a great thing. I could see it possibly replacing some of the like the decathlon stuff, the athlon stuff. It really should be on the revamp. And I'm sorry, but like I was saying, Ninja Warrior I think would be a good thing for it. It's been around. It has a world committee. All of that together.
Fair enough. The only things I wanted to add was I would like to see a parkour championship. I don't know how you would do it, but for those who like, The first time I saw District B13, and everybody knows the scene I'm talking about, is when Leto is being chased by K2 and everybody, and he's just going around, and you're like, wait, the French have action movies? But you didn't care. You just were watching, and you just beating the hell out. I want to see a parkour championships. I would appreciate an Olympian for that. That's something, I'd love. The other thing is this, and this is kind of horrible, and it's more of the Roman side, but gladiators.
Yeah.
I mean, if we already have MMA guys, but if we have true gladiators, and that's a whole can of political worms I don't want to deal with.
Right.
But if you get the gold medal in Merkin, I'm going to leave you to your compound. I will make sure I am always announced if I come by.
There is a reason why they made 6 Hunger Game movies. Like, honestly, just continue.
And that's what's like, look, before you go ahead and call me out my name and crazy, you never saw the Hunger Games, but you know who Katniss Everdeen is.
Right. Exactly.
So I stand on that one. So moving on to revamp.
Yeah.
So, Brother Wolf had jumped the gun early with saying, the athlons, because they are no longer representative. Number one, I believe every athlon should be done in one day.
Yeah.
Sunrise to sundown. If you don't get it done, you failed. Automatic disqualify.
And that it feels as though it would definitely be more competitive when you don't have that time in order to sit up there and do your full rest in between each round. And
because you're supposed to be running from city. You are, the red coats are coming. Whatever the case may be, Pony Express. You're trying to get to that finish line to pass this message on.
Right.
You're moving with. You're moving with the flight of Mercury with utmost haste, because why? Shit is wrong. Right?
Right.
But in any case, though, we wanted to revamp some of the sports that we have. So I guess I'll start it off with this one. I am one of the few people who don't like basketball. Basketball and baseball are not in my Mount Rushmore at all. I know them because other people do them, and I'm a bartender, so I have to be able to talk on current events. But if I had a choice, I would watch F1 over either of those sports. Either of those sports. And part of it is that I remember watching 90s ball, and it was a little bit more physical. Like, my favorite basketball scene of all time is Charles Barkley chasing that ref in the stands. That is my favorite. Because it's too many times a ref changed the game, and it's like, no, time for you to get this work. You know what I mean? So I'm fine with that. So I want to remove trampoline and basketball and put in slam ball. If you've never seen slam ball, imagine basketball with 3-point shots, 4-point shots, or kind of like NBA Jam, springboard, so you can just go sky high, and you can check people. You got on equipment gear, but there's times, and after a certain amount of times, you can't get pushed around anymore without being tired. So I'm a fan of removing trampoline and basketball and putting in slam ball. And I'm granted, yes, I have a propensity toward combat sports. It is what it is.
All right.
You want to take the next one?
Yeah. So one of the ones that you already hinted on, Formula One sounds like a great replacing for equestrian. Why? Because the whole point of it is to be on the most modern form of transportation, the thing that gets you from point A to point B, and show that you're the fastest at doing it.
Yeah.
And we no longer we still use horsepower, but not horses. So that's the whole thing.
Yeah, like how many people have actually gotten on a horse in the past 10 years? Like
on purpose?
One, watch your tone in your delivery. Two, you're correct. It's just your tone and your delivery. But no, I mean, there are enough people who do it. Like, during Mardi Gras, we have the mounted police here. We've got, some of the Buffalo Soldiers that are the representatives. I get it. We have some amount of appreciation for quote unquote cavalry.
Right.
But cavalry now means a tank.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, not really. Moving on, the one that I said that I really wanted to do as well was for the shooting, like the air rifle, the Turkish guy who was just showing out. He was And good on him for doing it, but it's a customized gun to like to your finger grooves and your sweat knuckles. And no, no, I want to see something like it's John Wick's, excuse me, Keanu Reeves training for John Wick. It's by Tartan. Intern, put it in the show notes. But if you watch it, it's Halle Berry and Keanu Reeves there, and he's showing what he's doing. He's going through an obstacle course. He's got multiple loaded weapons on him, so he would the participant would be in a closed arena, so that way there's no chance for anybody to get hurt except for the one individual off of a stray ricochet or misfire. You know what I mean? Boom. Alec Baldwin can't say shit either. But go ahead, do that. Do like an obstacle course, and you know what you're doing?
Like the same ones the police use when they're doing training and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I would find that way more interesting. Or if you don't want to do it that way, I would be down for a World Paintball Championships. So either or, like make shooting not as just I run and then I shoot and then no. Battle is battle. It's people. It's moving. It's not marksmanship by sitting down at the most. No. What's the Mike Tyson quote? Everybody has a plan to get punched in the mouth.
Face. Yeah.
Yeah, you know. So you're up, brother.
Another one, dodgeball. Dodgeball in my mind would replace handball. Handball to me just hasn't really seemed quite as what's the word I'm thinking of?
Worthwhile.
To me, a dodgeball has always appealed to me, even from when I was younger. Just looking at it, it's a sport in which we're taught a lot about when we're younger. So it's something that a lot of people have in them and can relate rather well to. Also, keeping with the combat aspect, if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. You know?
Dodge, dip, dive, and dodge.
So yeah.
Does this mean I get to call you Patches O'Houlihan for next episode?
But yeah, like I was saying, the thing is dodgeball to me just would seem like a much more up tempo, populous sport that people could really get into watching. So I definitely get it. And besides that, all of the techniques would be amazing on center stage at the world Olympic finals. So I definitely would like it.
Oh, I will tell you right now, I can't wait to see what the Asian teams will do. But the last two that we wanted to revamp, I'm going to just take them both because it's quick, is number one for skateboarding. At this point, there's not been really any new innovations in skateboarding. So therefore, skateboarding is boring. Rodney Mullen's a great. Never going to take that away from him. But when it comes to skateboarding at this point, if you were to tell me, Collins, how do you define skateboarding? Have you ever played a Tony Hawk game?
Right.
That's skateboarding. So if you've ever heard of Kaso, the Japanese game show where they basically have skateboarders on a course, do that. Do course skateboarding, but make them do tricks on it, and that's who you go ahead and determine who the winner is. That's what I see. The other one is for cycling. I could see cycling being a worthwhile sport to go ahead and show that you're pumping with your own legs as opposed to with however many horsepower, Hemi, or all other nonsense. But to be able to do it, combine all that stuff. There's, what was it? It's BMX and cycling. You got freestyle, racing, mountain bike, road, and track. Man, combine it all into one course, get it over and done with one day. That's the way I'm seeing it. So, you have anything else you want to add on the revamp side?
No. I think that covered it.
Okay.
That covered all the revamp stuff.
All right. So, moving on to my favorite category. I'm going to say something that's probably going to be blasphemous, but I'm okay with saying it. I don't really fucking like Bob Costas.
In your mind, one thing that definitely has to be revamped is the commentators.
You're damn right. So, with that said, if you have a choice for commentary, you kind of have an idea what you want to hear. And I'm speaking from an American aspect. And you're going to have a team for every country, in my estimation. Here's your press box for the Guyana team, the Costa Rican team, Hungary, Mongolia, Mozambique, wherever you're from, you're going to have your own press team. But as an American, one, because I watch Formula One, British announcers are for the win. That's just all there is to it.
I'd say, with my like a soccer, I'd say one of the soccer announcers that are like on with like the Spanish World Championships when they do that and everything.
British all day. That's one of those, like, they have a means of putting together words that elicit further drama and expectation from you.
No, go! Nothing like that.
Even though soccer players are some of the most fit people of all time, because soccer has, in order to be a sport, in my mind, you need to have three specific things. Number one, play defense. And in soccer, you can play defense. But number two, there has to be definitive physical risking injury without the play of the game immediately being called back. You touching soccer, it's automatic. No, kick him clean in the shin. That's why I got shin guards. He don't want to play no more. That's why you're having forces.
One of the reasons why you like slam ball.
I don't disagree. Remember, I like hockey over basketball.
Right.
I like American football most because what? I have no problem with seeing somebody get their bell rung. Anita Ward. But yeah, so in the number three is that if you're going to play the game, you already understand there's a level of injury, so you're going to have the protective gear associated with it as well. Like, case in point, hearing the stuff about Jim McMahon and how bad his concussions are, painful. Earl Campbell and how bad his legs are messed up, horrible.
Right.
But I do believe with some commentators, even though there might be more dramatic moments that would require more subtlety and grace, I'm going to say it. My top three announcers, number one, Snoop Dogg. He did a great job for the Roy Jones-Mike fight.
Right.
He is a global phenomenon. He is a cultural icon. He's not a felon, unlike Martha Stewart. People forget that key point. Right. One's a felon, it's Martha. And I don't know who doesn't like Snoop Dogg.
Right.
Like, you might not be a fan of him, but you're not going to go ahead and actively hate him either. Second option, and this is for you and for you alone, Jim Ross.
I get it. And I was thinking that was that would be. I would almost say
There's only three commentators all time.
Personally, I would love it a lot more if Joey Styles would do it, but Joey Styles had a past that isn't great. But I would love Joey Styles to be a commentator on the Olympics. I think he would really do some amazing work.
Styles is one of the greats, but it's Ross is everybody's quote-unquote favorite, then Styles, and then the other option is Brain, and Brain's not an option.
Right.
In my last pick, and I've said this, and people going to understand, it might even become a hashtag, John over Dwayne, John Cena.
John Cena as an Olympic announcer. Wow, that would be...
One, the man is genuinely strong.
And not just that, but you picked an loved by everybody. That team of announcers.
Like, could you imagine Snoop Dogg and John Cena just sitting around? And I can see Snoop saying, "So, Cena, you think you can rap?"
And just talking about the Olympic competitors and the sports and everything. Wow, that would be like that. That would be huge. That would get people back in the seats for watching it without even having the new sports in. Really.
And here's the thing: when it comes to Cena, he does car commercials, and he has a very good voice for it, and I'm happy for him.
All right.
So imagine if he started doing this. Like, I would actually look forward to the Olympics if I knew John Cena was going to commentate.
Not just that, but throw in John Cena and Snoop Dogg. Yeah.
Could you imagine them during the boxing competition? Come on, man. Could you imagine them during the races? Man, what's number 8 doing? He should just go home. Like, oh my God. Although marijuana laws probably need to be checked per country. I'm not speaking for or on Snoop Dogg, but I believe we all know what the game
Also,
is.
we don't know if John Cena likes to have a good time with
You never saw that the one where he was the drug dealer?
Yeah. Got your uppers, your downers.
You're like, John. But no, it's one of those things where it's boring. It hasn't kept up with the times, and I want better. And my brother was like, you don't watch the Olympics anymore. Why? Because I don't care about it. It does not relate to me. I don't, feel like there's any hometown heroes, because that was one of the things that every Olympian wants to do, is go ahead and win the gold medal, hold their country's flag up high, and say, I represented well, I represented proudly.
And I think one of the main reasons why we brought it up, the sports aren't relatable in and of themselves. Think about it. The reason why people watch these sports or should watch sports is because...
Wait, by sports, you mean the Olympics or just...
Just period, sports. It's the fact that younger, they could imagine that was something in order to go ahead and achieve. There were so many kids that thought, hey, I'll be good at football, or hey, I'll be good at, baseball or something like that. That is what makes a good sport. Is it something in which people younger can go to and they'll be like, hey, I love this. You got to have a certain amount of modern flair for a sport to appeal like that to the young generation. I don't think very many of the young generation are looking at, shot put and saying, I want to do that. And that's not saying, okay, maybe some shot putters out there will be like, hey, that's not true. I know people love shot put.
Little sorry.
But I'm just saying the numbers for these sports that we mentioned for them adding are greatly higher than the amount of people that want to be involved in, even though we found badminton has its purposes, still greater than the amount of people that want to be involved in badminton, and stuff like that. So
I don't disagree. I'm just sitting here letting you preach. Also, I really wish Rev would have been here, because I know he would have added something. I was like,
I feel as though something is missing from him at this point.
Yeah. He's going to say, it's like, oh, you forgot all of these. I'm like, damn it. Well, why weren't you available?
Like, I feel like right now Rev would mention something about pole dancing. Like, I don't know.
It's closing time.
It's closing time.
You didn't watch your tone.
Or my delivery.
Season 3, no explosions.
Thank you for listening to the Benchmark Podcast, a product of Benchmark Media, LLC. We would like to remind our listeners that the views and opinions expressed in this review are strictly the views and opinions of each individual and does not reflect the stance of Benchmark Media. Any opinion stated is not to be construed as professional advice or help. Our intro and outro music is Acid Trumpet by Kevin MacLeod, licensed under the Creative Commons. Remember to contact us at therealbenchmarkpodcast@gmail.com or our website, www.therealbenchmarkpodcast.com. You can follow us on social media on Facebook or Instagram. And if you'd like to be a friend of the show, you can donate to us via our PayPal and buy Collins a drink.